Hi, and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther with you to do an unexpected and fun reading today. It's Friday, March 24th, 2023. And I say unexpected and fun because I really wasn't expecting some of the messages today. You'll see why. And fun, you're also going to see why. So we're going to get right into it. And this time around, I change this up all the time. I just go how I'm led on these things. I sometimes might read something that's a traditional tarot, interpretation, but more than likely not. I'm just going to go with whatever I see and into it. That being said, I have a few notes to go over. Normally, I don't really jot down notes. I like to just see what comes up. But in this case, the way my morning unfolded, and here's another case of me just waking up and just feeling guided to go ahead and do a reading. And then I'm guided to just pick up a few tokens. So let me start with that. The tokens today are these little jingle bells that you wear on your wrist, and this star, which is a Christmas tree topper that lights up, and then this little illuminating, I don't know if it's a fir or spruce or what kind of, type of Christmas tree it is. Yes, this has a very Christmas flavor to it because I didn't know much, but I knew when I went to bed, probably a reading was kind of come up in the morning, and the star was a prominent theme. And also that I wanted to try out this deck I haven't reused before. It's a beautiful deck. I don't know why I haven't used it, but I think it's called the Nordic Magical Tarot. Anyway, so we kind of have a lot of different themes going on. So it's a Nordic Norse theme. I say that because I also wanted to bring up a point of why in English speaking culture do we have the names of the week. I invite you to look them up, the etymology of the names of the week, and why are a lot of them, rooted in Norse mythology and Nordic mythology, Friday being one of them, if you look at Freya. So I'm going to leave it there with Freya, but obviously she is associated with her are all things magical, a little bit of sorcery here and there. Very interesting history. So I invite you to look that up. Also, and it's funny, I said history, we're told it's all mythology, but I think that there's a lot to question there more and more these days. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it, what started to unfold. And as I do, you're going to notice I'm going to jump all over the place because I really am just saying what comes to mind. But just to hit the decks real quick, so to speak, to tell you what's coming up, I'm using the Heart and Soul, what are these things called? Heart and Soul Virtue cards. There are two different ones. There's this one, and then there's these over here. Again, we're going to talk a lot about sacred geometry in a minute. So we've got the sacred geometries are going to be prominent in this. So we already have a star, a diamond shape. I also invite you to look up why we use the heart symbol, the current accepted, heart symbol that comes down to a point and the two curves on the top. Very interesting there when you take just a general search, on the internet. It's not very convincing to me that that's how we derived at it. We're going to talk about that, maybe touch on that later in the reading. But back to the cards. So I did already mention we have a magical Nordic magical tarot deck. I'll put it in the description box below. The Good Tarot, and we're going to take a look at the Romance Angels deck as well. Now, part of why I was saying this is kind of unexpected is I never, not as a rule, it just has never come up for me to, I don't want to say not to be important, but I never cover like the love reading aspects or romance and the traditional loving as in loving another person type of reading. But yet it kind of creeped in on this one, which is fine. It's just kind of very surprising and funny to me. But that it also might be a theme or something notable for you. Now, I just want to hit a couple of points. I'll just kind of leave the image here focused on this general scene for now, if I can not wobble. But I have some notes off in the distance. I feel it's important just to kind of read them bullet point by bullet point. And why do we say bullet point? Let me just say point by point. So I woke up and, with the intention of, okay, let's do a reading. I'm feeling it. And what's in the best and highest good for the people to hear, whoever finds this. And, it's also a miracle and no happenstance if you even found this video or my channel. But anyway, what hit me strong, well, first of all, the one message is, what are you waking up to? Okay. I wake up to music, and some people, you might wake up to a harsh buzzer because that's the only way you feel you can get up. I guess some people wake up to pets coming and looking you in the face. Maybe you have small children that come and you have no choice. But anyway, if you do have a choice, what are you choosing? So I do not like to hear electronic alarms off of a phone or what have you. So I choose music. And what came through was funny, just kind of like the random player, whoever's playing this stuff, it turned out to be a couple of was it a couple of 80s songs? Yes, for both from the 80s. So first I heard Huey Lewis and the News' Heart and Soul, which I have not heard in forever. And then I heard All Night Long by Lionel Richie. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning these is in those songs, as I was just kind of, closing my eyes and thinking, okay, what's good for the people to hear today? What message wants to come through, if anything? If not, I won't do a reading. I really don't care. It's whatever's, good and meant to be. So a prominent theme came up right away. Two things were heart and soul, and also sacred geometry, specifically Vesica Pisces and the number 9. So the reason why I mentioned heart and soul, I guess I'll start with that. I'll go out of order of what kind of popped up. But heart and soul, there's, obviously the whole song Huey Lewis sings it's, heart and soul. I don't really like the rest of the lyrics, but then I want to focus on the All Night Long song, Lionel Richie, because the lyrics that jumped out to me were everybody sing, everybody dance, lose yourself in wild romance. And then he talks about, he goes on to sing, feel it in the heart and feel it in your soul. And again, the heart and soul came up. And then it comes, of course, after that is let the music take control. So that meant something to me now when we started talking about heart and soul. And that's why I actually put the heart and soul virtue cards on the table, which I never use these things. These things I got over 13 years ago. And they're just going to be some little inspirational messages on there. But, it's kind of like one of those, to use a more, common or I guess current term, it was kind of just meh, kind of vanilla, average, just neither here nor there for me. But no, those wanted to be on the table today because we have a clear heart and soul theme. Now, with the heart and soul, again, I just already touched on, take a look at why we use the symbol that we do for the heart. And another prominent theme that came up, I actually even went to a book and pointed, and I got the Vesica Pisces number 9. Now, I know very little about that sacred geometry. So again, I invite you to take a look at sacred geometry today. Now, what is interesting, though, is the Vesica Pisces, if you're not familiar, and actually I did not leave the page open, it's 2 intersecting circles, and in the middle is the shape, an almond shape, or, some people, refer to it as the Vesica Pisces. I looked at one reference says that means fish bladder, and I'm not sure if that's really why or, it came about. There's so much history and rich, deep, mystical meaning associated with the Vesica Pisces. And again, I invite you to look into it. Now, apparently it can also be referred to as the mandorla, and the M-A-N-D, the manda part in there, is also like Mandel in German means almond, and you get that almond shape. Now, also looking at sacred geometry, that further reminded me of the mandala, but that's actually Sanskrit meaning essence. For the manda part is essence, and the la is either container or the possessor. There's a lot of meanings there too. So when you put it all together, the mandala in Sanskrit, and this is again just looking at my references that I could find, do look into anything I mentioned deeper, but the overall meaning then is container of essence. And so it just kept rolling and unfolding that the Vesica Pisces, that almond shape, the mandala, and the Vesica Pisces, when you link it up with bigger and spread it out into more geometry, can become the tree of life symbol. And then I was looking around, and then of course I see this book I haven't read yet, The Silmarillion by Tolkien. I've been wanting to get to it. But then also that just kind of has more of the geometry, sacred geometry on it. And while I have this card, this is 9 of Fire from the Good Tarot deck by Colette, Baron-Reid, and I always find it very important to mention illustrators. So in the description box below, I'm going to include that, because to me, without these gorgeous illustrations, it's nice also, of course, the power of what the author puts down and energy behind it. But without these beautiful illustrations with these cards, oracle cards, tarot cards, we really got only half the picture and not actually any picture without the illustrations. So I find it equally important. I don't know why our society and culture only gives top billing to the authors when the illustrations are mighty powerful as well. Okay, so let's go into the actual card reading. I think I covered all of my little points I was going to mention that I wrote down. Hang on. So kind of, big theme or buzzwords maybe our heart and soul, maybe the Nordic magic, Christmas star, everything magical kind of theme going on. Okay, so now we're ready to move on. So what I did this time was go ahead and just lay out arcs of these different cards and spread them out because I'm not using a tripod, and this is the only way I can kind of do it. So, I mean, there are a few ways. I'm being creative. So I thought let's try it out this time. So let's go over here to the Heart and Soul Virtue, and let's just see what we find. Now, you may pick something different than me, and so we'll just see how it goes, though. All right? I'm just being led to go for this one. And what do we have? And I'm going to be practicing this, so bear with me. I hope it comes into focus right away. Okay? Here we go. Because you are generous-hearted, you automatically receive cooperation from everyone. Now, that's interesting, okay? Because look what we've got. Again, the heart theme coming up. What does it mean to be generous-hearted? Not monetary, not just monetary, that's for sure. But we can be generous with our time. We can be generous with our energy. And automatically receive, that's interesting too, and cooperation. I'm not sure if you automatically receive it, but I think one way to automatically receive something is, as I've mentioned in previous shows, is if you find yourself in a tricky situation and you say, right in that instant that everything seems to be working against you, you say everything's happening for me, not to me, then I do notice an automatic flow of all bounty and people coming over to help you, and all of that happens. So I know from personal experience, I'm generous-hearted every day, and I wouldn't say you automatically receive cooperation, but I would just say that it's a beautiful way to live, and what you do automatically receive are smiles, and you automatically receive other people. You just feel the room uplift when you bring that generosity of love and positive energy and beautiful light into a space. That I can tell you. Then yes, that instantaneously, I would say, more than automatically happens. Okay, let's move on because we got other things to cover. And here we go. Let's go to this magical Nordic deck. I mean, this one is the obvious one, but I'm not feeling to take that one. So this one's actually calling to me a little bit more here. Okay. Oh, all right. This is interesting. We have, bear with me, King of Swords. Let me back up a little bit. And it's structure at the bottom. All right. And that's a very interesting imagery. I really love these cards. They're really, really fun. I'm going to put that here for now because I need a little more to go on than just reading that card on its own. So now we'll go to the good tarot deck, and let's just see what we find in this one. This one I am feeling to take the very first one. So let's do this. All right. And we get, let's see if I can make this happen. Bear with me, the camera work. This one we get the Six of Water. Okay, I'll show you the imagery here. It's a beautiful card. Okay, and then let's go to the Romance Angels deck. I want to take this one. And this one says, let's find out. This is a funny, actually interesting deck. Chemistry, okay. And there's a strong magnetic attraction here. All right, now let's go to another one of these Heart and Soul Virtue cards. I want this one. And it says what? Okay, contentment. All right. And there's actually a little fish. I'll put that right there. Contentment. Okay, so I'm trying to piece this together. And I think we're going to need a little more clarity and clarification and as a unifier. So we've got the Nine of Fire with the stars, the King of Swords with structure, Six of Water, so we've got a little fire, water, elemental thing going on. We have contentment, which could also be balance. And we have chemistry, a strong attraction. So here we're going to play a new little game here with this. I'm going to start to pair these. So chemistry and fire. Okay, I'm going to put those together. Wishes coming true. Chemistry. Perhaps somebody out there is wishing for a new love. Or if not direct love with a partner, just that fire and reigniting a passion in your life. Having a love for life doesn't mean a partner. It means having ultimate self-love where you can have one or you don't have to have one, and it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't, because when you have that life force within you that is completely aligned, you have everything. and including love. You see it wherever you go, and you see it in every person. But on the flip side, there's also time to, yes, have that direct connection and that chemistry and that fire to make you feel alive in other ways, because we are here, I firmly believe, to experience everything that we wish to. And back to making that wish. Okay, now King of Swords, this one I think it's a little bit on its own page with structure, so I'm going to pull another magical tarot card, Nordic magical, whatever. I'll put it in the description box below. Ooh, and we get the High Priestess, empowerment. And we have a cat at each side, black and white. And then we've got all these beautiful crystals, and she's in front of the world. She has a raven or a crow, and the sun or moon, actually, would be the moon behind her. All right. For whatever reason, this actually goes with my question earlier and my invitation to everybody to go and look up why we name the days of the week the way we do. And I'm just getting a big Freya vibe off of this card representing Friday. Okay. Now, the moon in the background has the symbolism of things hidden, right? Maybe knowledge, maybe feelings, emotions, something going on that's hidden from us. And as you can see, she's using her divination tools and the support of her spirit animals, or, life force energy, to create a synergy with the animals as well. I see, a triangular form. If you go up to the peak of the bird, which is, also a messenger in between the worlds. If we look at some of the Norse and other mythology, look at who and what the messengers are between supposedly the humankind down on earth and the gods above. One great example, I don't know why I'm running over there, but we will wander all over the place, and I hope you're along for the ride. So when we talk about the messengers, when you look at Greek mythology, there's just the word rainbow. There's a lot behind that symbolism. And I forget if it was iris or iris. In Spanish, rainbow is arco iris. And she was the one giving the messages between humans and the gods, and there was a sister involved, and I'm going to get this all wrong, so look up the etymology of the rainbow connected with the gods. And one was in good favor and, delivered the messages as they wished, and so I think she became the eternal rainbow. One fell out of favor and was the betrayer, and so didn't get that glory of the rainbow symbolism. Anyway, have fun looking that up. It's sketchy, dodgy at best. Obviously, I can't quite remember everything. Okay, anyway, what's interesting, we'll get back to the cards, is that she's got, quote unquote, like the darker raven or crow figure, and the king over here has some kind of, it's not a dove, it's not an eagle, it's kind of like a hybrid between a known eagle or bird with very long legs, but the overall figure is reminding me more of a butterfly or some type of insect. It also, though, reminds me directly, except for the head form, when you look at that, if you go to my show called Sky Mysteries, there is a segment in there taking brilliant find and interpretation and analysis from Sugar Seas over her channel. And on the cover is a fairy that she found footage of a fairy in front of a cave in Greece. And I zoomed in and zoomed in and zoomed in, and my goodness, to the detail, you can see it's a real fairy. Anyway, that's just reminding me of that. Also, we've got the crown sitting on this king, and I will get back to the overall tying all this together. But this king, look at, he's got his eyes closed, right? And to me, that represents, he doesn't need to look out into the outer world to know he's aligned and has tremendous inner power, right? And he doesn't need to open the eyes and look about him to know that it's within him. And he just has this overwhelming sense of peace on his face. And then, oops, sorry about the fuzziness. And that peace reminds me of contentment with the fish. And how funny, we have the fish when I was talking about the Vesica Pisces, right? And of course, the symbol for Pisces being a fish. All right, which is also a powerful symbol for keying into your own intuition. Pisces in the astrological sign, the star signs, zodiac, from what I understand, is a very intuitive star sign, okay? And, again, going back to our star theme, how many points on that star click with you? Do look it up, how many points feel good. And actually, the Christmas star in Germany is a very interesting decoration, has a lot of points to it. And it always clicked with me more than just this five-pointed star. I really don't like the five-pointed star. Anyway, points, we've got points on the crown, okay, of this king. And again, these points, are like little antenna, connecting up into the cosmic, into God and the divine. Very interesting, right? And then, of course, right above him, we have all these other little points. I forgot my little sassafras root pointer wand, so pardon the unmanicured fingers, but that's what we're working with. All right, now with the crown, we also have the crown chakra, and if you look at the card, we have a lot of violets and blues, indigo, white, gold even, and it's all about connecting up with the higher realms, if you want to look at it in a tradition of mythology, and or if you want to look up to the heavens, God, the universe, the cosmic, all that is. Now, with the crown, it leads me to another little prop I was led to put on the table here, is of a little bucket of thistle and heather. Okay, they're artificial, of course, but I invite you to look up the spiritual meanings of this thistle. Okay, sometimes they're pink, sometimes lavender, sometimes more purple or plum. And if you look at the overall shape, I couldn't find it right before this reading, but there's a beautiful mystical interpretation of the thistle. First of all, it's great as a tea. Milk thistle is known to really be a wonderful, beautiful health benefit for the liver and liver function. So I invite you to look at that if that's something new to you, to that knowledge. Also, the top, the thistle itself, the little flowering part, is referenced as the crown, and also by the color, connecting up with the divine. So that's a very interesting thing too. Now I'm going to zoom back out and see if we can tie in any more of these little messages before I close. So with this water card, I wanted to pair it with, the contentment and the Pisces card, but really, let's do a little scramble. This contentment card kind of really belongs over here. And when I do that, it all comes together for me. So it's not really about the power of a king or a high priestess, obviously having traditionally very different powers. But in this case, the cards show that this is not a king looking for power. This is a king that just has that power and the balance within him aligned and connected with the divine, almost like in a meditation. And this high priestess, for her too, she's got a power, but she's not abusing it. Everything is kind of stationary. She's very balanced. She's got the, kind of like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit kind of Trinity, going on in there, or super conscious, subconscious, however you want to read that. And so that all seems to come together in that little cluster. So I'm going to look here over at the Six of Water. And you know what? I think we need some clarity on this. So, obviously she kind of just seems lost in her own little world, even though there's a lot of little worlds going on around her with these little spheres. And there's a reflection in there, but she can't see it. She can't see herself because she's kind of so lost in her inner world, and that's fine, in her emotions, because we've got the water. Oops, hang on. Camera, cooperate. Thank you. And so she's kind of lost in her inner world. She's based in kind of purity and goodness, with the white color in her gown is the thing that's grounding in with the earth. And though she isn't kind of into her feels, as they say, let's get a little more clarity of what's going on here. So when we look, I think I'll pick another good tarot deck card, and actually this one's calling to me right here. All right, let's see what we got. So now we have the King of Water, okay, and we've got like a little Neptune vibe with his trident, and this dude is reaching for what? He is reaching for, I love it, reaching for this fish, or actually not reaching for it. He's, sorry about the out of focus business. Hang on one second. Let me try and make this happen. He is he's being very, peaceful and balanced, kind of like this other king. He's just sitting there. He's just chilling out. And he's just knowing, he's kind of got a little laugh in his face because he's just holding out his hand, and energetically he's guiding the fish to him. Now that little fish, I think we may have seen one before. There we go. So we do have this little fish theme, and Pisces, Vesica Pisces, and maybe there's other messages that popped out for you. But anyway, when we look at this pairing, we've got a king of water and a six of water. I'm not going to really focus or look on the messages, but what we do see is an overwhelming sense of calm. On the right, there's a time to be, when we're feeling our heart and soul, there's a time to kind of be a little more lamenting, a little more processing, maybe in a little woeful state. And then there's a time to own our emotions and know that, okay, we can feel them, but as they say, you feel it to heal it. We feel it, but then we move through it and just, move through, let the current flow, let us feel it. But then we can also just keep moving and swimming and leave it behind. And there's a purpose in the pain, and there's a purpose in the love and the joy. And we will have times for the heart and soul to feel the joy and the pain, and that is the magic of life. So hope you were able to follow along with me. You know what? I'm feeling that we missed something, and we didn't miss something, but we need to add something here. And that is, I feel like I'm supposed to pick one more of these cards and see what we've got. And what a beautiful message to end on. And actually, I'm going to do a little card scramble here. The contentment now card. We got avalanche going on. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. The contentment card wants to go back over to this little cluster, because even in the whatever she's going through, she is still in a set she still has a sense of repose and something she's relaxed into whatever she's feeling. So overall, we've got some level of a contentment. And then we'll come back over here with a little card scramble here, and I'm going to put the peace card back over here where it belongs. Oops. I don't have a little prop master here with me. So we've got peace. Definitely both seem centered and in a state of peace. Now I will round this out because we've got the little inspiration and heart and soul cards going with our little pairings here. So you know what? We need one more over here. So we've got the Nine of Fire. We've got chemistry. We've got a passion for life. Maybe a lust for life if you're really needing that kind of romance. There's a strong magnetic attraction here, whether it's for a partner or, what are they even looking at? Oh my goodness, they're looking at a star. So maybe the passion and lust for life is just in the magic of what you find in your everyday or what you create. And so I'm feeling that since we're talking about fire, and we did have already actually a little inspiration card for that grouping. We had that, hang on, that was that because you were generous-hearted, you automatically receive cooperation from everyone. I'm just going to put that here in the middle as being kind of, something to discover and create that magic in your life and be generous-hearted and see what magic unfolds from that. But let's go over here because I don't really feel that is fitting with our message over here. So let me pick another one of these cards and let's see what we've got, and hopefully it makes sense. Okay, it is, if ever you become unhappy, sit in a quiet place and think about what you have learned today. Okay, well, you know what? That so clearly goes over with this woman over here, so I'm going to put that over here. Okay, so again, if you ever become unhappy, sit in a quiet place and think about what you have learned today. So yeah, we need one more little message over here for our couple and our and our fiery passion. Let's see what we got. I'm going to try it one more time. All right, see, last one. To help others, first help yourself by strengthening your self-respect. Okay, help yourself first. Strengthen your self-respect. Again, these cards are a little odd, but that is a good message. And actually, it's one that popped up in a recent YouTube Shorts that I did. And it's entitled simply Respect, and except spelled the German way, respect. That brings a little more Nordic stuff into the reading. So respect spelled R-E-S-P-E-K-T. I liked that. It seemed to fit for that YouTube Shorts. Now in that Shorts, there is a downy woodpecker up atop a coconut palm tree. Now I filmed that woodpecker pecking as they always do, and they flutter and fly around nonstop. And if you've observed woodpeckers and just keep pecking the wood, they go around and around the tree in a circle and they keep going. It's very rare that they stop for any period of time. Well, because then they also fly off from one tree to the next. Well, this one noticed I was filming it and it didn't like it, and it stopped doing its woodpecking, which again I have not seen, not only just stopped, not just like briefly, it stopped for a full 2 minutes. So what I wanted to note is that little woodpecker had self-respect and dignity and was just saying, hey, no, I'm not here just to be everybody's eye candy. I'm doing my own thing, and I deserve my little me time. So, kindly refrain. And so I just had to laugh, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop filming you. and let nature, communicate to me, a very good lesson of just let's have boundaries and respect. Just because it's out there doesn't mean I can just go and film it. Now, in fairness to myself, I did kind of telepathically, mentally just say, hey, is it okay if I film you? But apparently at a certain point, the bird did not like it, so I stopped. But anyway, it's just another good message to help others. You have to help yourself, and strengthen is a really key and important word. You do need to come from a source, have source of strength within you to help. And the self-respect is, we could help everybody in the entire world. In our minds, we want to do that. But it doesn't mean that it is our role or job to do that. There is a much higher power, a much bigger picture. And I saw somebody post the other day, one of those little meme type things that said, turn off their news. You were never meant to take on the burden of the whole world. And that is true. So we kind of have to be, guided by the heart to help others, but we also have to do it not at the cost of our own depletion of energy. And you really do, as they say, it's a cliche by now probably, but you really do have to fill up your own cup first to be able to fill the cup of others. You have to have something to give. All right, so I know I really went all over the world here with this reading, so to speak, in every which way. But I hope something in here, popped out for you in particular, and brought something good to your day. And if not, that's okay too. And I wish all of you a beautiful right now, a beautiful day and weekend ahead. And as always, tremendous peace and love to you. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.